It's so easy to breathe again. Life in the big city has finally took its toll. It's been so long, but I'm finally home. And what better place to rest my weary bones but on this beautiful island where there's so much to see. Every corner I turn, there's something there to remind me. To me, not a thing out of place, that's what's special about it. Do you hear? It's the songs the birds are singing. Do you hear? It's the song that's everlasting, and there's
no end in sight.
Just the beginning of our lives. Sweet Grenada, this is home. This is where I wanna be. My little piece of the ocean is all I need. If it was up to me, I'll never leave. And do you hear? It's the songs the birds are singing. Do you hear? It's a sound that's everlasting, and there's no Sweet Grenada, this is home. And do you hear? It's the songs the birds are singing. Do you hear? It's the sound that's everlasting, and there's no end in sight. Just the beginning of our lives. Sweet Grenada, this is home. Grenada, yes, this is home, yes. Sweet Grenada, this is home. Saturday night, I still smell the cocoa aroma. Mommy cooking something inside, yeah. The adult are washing yellow, the candlelight all around you. Big sesame in the sun, story time on the stone. Almost time to go inside for some cocoa tea, cocoa tea, cocoa tea, cocoa tea, cocoa tea. Looking at you in wonder, you make me happy with ease, yeah.
That's amazing to see. Grenadians through their daily lives, living out the spice. It is so exciting and it's so of spice. Come on down, get in the groove. Free yourselves, get on the move. Feel the rhythms of spice. With open arms, we welcome you, giving first class service to all the rhythms of spice. Oh, oh, that's the rhythms of spice. Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin.
that's the rhythms of spice.
We want to make sure we stick as close to time as possible, so we will begin at this moment. We'd like to invite at this time for us to begin with giving recognition to this little isle of ours, Grenada. We'd like to now invite a past pupil and now present teacher of the Boca Secondary School, Ms. Kimling Alexander, to do the national anthem. Will we all stand, please?
Let's all stand at attention for our national anthem. Hail, Grenada, land of ours, we pledge ourselves to thee. Heads, hearts, and hands in unity to reach our destiny. Ever conscious of God, being proud of our heritage, may we with faith and courage aspire, build, advance. As one people, one family, God bless our nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sylvester, for raising the national anthem. I will ask you to continue standing at this time, as we will now have a representative from a primary school in Dominica to do the invocation. You're online.
Joy, go ahead. It's your turn.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for life. Father, I place the teachers of our region in your hands as they continue to plan high quality lessons for all students. Bless the principal as school leaders who continue to encourage teachers to use technology in the classroom to make learning fun and interesting for us, the students. Father, Lord, help us, the students of our region, to be grateful for the skilled and caring teachers who help us in different ways. Help us to make wise use of our many resources for learning, such as technology and interesting books. Lord Jesus, we are thankful for the DECI program, which benefited our teachers and many students across our region. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you very much. You may have your seats. For a very long time, there has been much discussion about integrating information technology into classroom teaching and the imparting of education. Whether it's because of COVID or whether it is a combination of COVID and the realities that are placed before us, as a Caribbean, we have been thrust into not just having to do it, but needing to integrate information technology into our learning and our teaching environment. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here as our closeout, or what is familiarly called DESI. We'd like to make sure that you are all comfortable, and we would like to say, from a perspective of the Grenadian context, welcome to the Isle of Spice, where everything is nice. Senator the Honorable David Andrew, Minister of Education of Grenada, Minister of Education's Youth, Sports and Culture in Grenada, Permanent Secretaries, the Ministry of Education, the OECS member states, Mrs. Angela Finley, Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, the Division of Education, Mrs. K. Martin Jack, Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and other Chief Education Officers, Directors of Education, Heads of Departments and officials of the Ministries of Education, Ms. Peter Bolt, Representative of UNICEF, Office for the Eastern Caribbean Area, Ms. Shelley-Ann Harper, Early Childhood Development Specialist, UNICEF Office for the Eastern Caribbean Area and other UNICEF staff, Mr. Aurora de Leon, Deputy Director, General Development Officer, and other staff of USAID, Eastern and Southern Caribbean Mission, Regional and International Development Partners, Ms. Cicera Simon, Acting Director, Human and Social Development OECS Commission, staff of the OECS Commission, principals and teachers, students, other participants, invited guests, members of the media, online participants. Thank you for being here today. Without further ado, we'd like to now invite Ms. Cicera Simon, Acting Director of Human and Social Division of the OECS Commission, to come to give official welcome and to bring the context of today's closeout ceremony. Ms. Simon.
A pleasant good morning to everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's a beautiful day. Good morning. Honorable Minister, permission to adopt the protocols already established. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, boys and girls, I bring you greetings and well wishes on behalf of our Director General at the OECS Commission, Dr. Didicus Jules, and by extension, the wider staff body at the OECS Commission. We continue to pursue your business, and today we are here to close and report to you on your business, our business, that we have undertaken on your behalf. You would recall that just 2 years ago, approximately 1/3 of the world's population, can you imagine that, boys and girls? You remember that? A lot of you were unable to access teaching and learning. You were bored. Teachers complained. Children felt stifled. Parents were worried. We felt that this thing was just not ending. Mind you, what we recognized 3 months into this thing is that it will soon end, but there would be lots of ramifications. Learning losses comes to mind. So the OECS Commission, after listening to you permanent secretaries in here, chief education officers, and if I could recall, persons like the Honorable Minister himself, Mr. David Andrew, in his then capacity, clamored for us to ensure that we created culturally relevant, developmentally appropriate content for all students and teachers, and most importantly, to assist parents and guardians during the time that children were at home. So what did the OECS sought to do? Well, what we really did is to accelerate our progress towards creating what we now refer to an OECS digital ecosystem, learning ecosystem. You know why it's an ecosystem? I'm sure boys and girls might be wondering. You've heard that term in science. It's because it comprises several components, bringing them together so that we see the relationship and that we reach out not by only providing content, also finding a space for professional development and capacity building. So it's pieces coming together. And you know, oftentimes, colleagues, we say, wow, so many things. Why are they not communicating? Why are they not related? Oh, that's what we're doing over there, and this one, and they don't seem to be coming together. Well, this is what we've listened to you. And we decided that if we are to add any value and respond to your needs, tackling the need, the urgent need of content needed to be one that is holistic, one that is engaging, and one, most importantly, informed by the people who are supposed to access and use it, the end users. Bearing that in mind, and armed with a plan, we reached out to our development partners, and USAID and UNICEF both responded to our call. They stepped in to provide us with support to strengthen the capacity of teachers and principals to develop content and to create content placed in a repository that can be accessed by all. You know, usually when you think of content, I'm sure a lot of us here, we go on EBSCO or we go on some site and they say, pay for use. You have to download it and then pay. And we get turned off. It's like, oh my God. Or we struggle, where can I get a lesson in energy or something that is appropriate? Or you find a good lesson, but it's not culturally relevant. Well, we've begun responding to this. So, armed with support by USAID and UNICEF, we launched the Digital Education Capacity Strengthening Initiative, which we now call DESI. DESI was launched on the 10th of June 2022, and some of you here did participate with us in St. Lucia to launch this initiative. Now note the date. It started June of 2022. So DESI has become sort of, for those of us who've been through it, a pregnancy. 9 months. 9 months of taking care of a baby. 9 months of ensuring it is a priority. 9 months of ensuring that mentally we adapt. 9 months doing the necessary checks. You don't simply, those of us who are mothers and fathers, let me not shortchange fathers. We spend time. We dedicate time. We find time for a name. We want this baby to be born healthy, yeah? We're focused on what that APCA score is going to be like. This is how we've treated DESI. And so I'm pleased today to say the baby has been delivered. And later on today, you will get to see more about the baby's eyes. You know, we want to check the eyes and the little nose and the color of the ears and whether there are 10 toes and 10 fingers. All I can tell you is DESI is really inclusive. DESI has sought out to reach every single boy and girl male teacher, female teacher, principal, or parent. And I will not stand here and tell you and share with you on all of what DESI has done, but I'm sure during the course of this morning, you will get to see firsthand what DESI has delivered on. Ladies and gentlemen, as I seek to close, I'm sure all of you may be wondering, today is DESI, yesterday was ELP, tomorrow is PUL, and you get the names. It's like all your children, we have names for all of our children, yeah? But we all come together in a family, right? So you may have two children, two different names. You don't call them John and John too. You say John, Jane. This is what is happening within the education space. We're coming, we're building them together. And so what has happened, ladies and gentlemen? You would have recalled ELP, the Early Learners Program. DESI builds on the Early Learners Program because the resources from the Early Learners Program, we've utilized them and we've used augmented reality to improve those. DESI really is at the heart of the OECS education sector strategy. And in there, we did pledge to strengthen information technology across the education sector. I can stand here this morning and give you several reasons and examples to demonstrate why DESI in itself adds value to what we're already doing in the region. And trust me, colleagues, when I say DESI, like every other intervention, is one that we take pride in, a flagship, and one we guard jealously. So in closing, may I, with your permission, may I quote from one participant during our recent training, and this is so profound. And I quote, "Today's session created an excitement within me. I absolutely love the fact that I do not need a lot, just good internet and a few devices to make this work." That's from a teacher. And so hearing this, I want to respond to this teacher by indicating, we've heard you. The OECS Commission, on your behalf, colleagues, we've been implementing GIGA. GIGA's focus is on access to quality internet. We've been focused on responding to the need for devices, and you would have known through our COVID response project, we did so. So it is work in progress. Fellow colleagues, development partners, we appreciate your commitment to advancing education in the OECS. Thank you to all of you. Let me take this opportunity to once again express profound gratitude to my colleagues from USAID, some of which have contributed directly to the OECS Commission, and UNICEF for supporting the region's development. The educational content that's developed and the capacity that has been strengthened will redound to an improved, transformative education system that soon from now, even in my old age, we will see the benefit or the direct results of such an intervention. Let's keep strong and join us in that movement to improving education for the success of every learner. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Sister Simon for her welcome remarks and for setting the context for us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd now like to invite Peter Bolt, representative from UNICEF office for the Eastern Caribbean, to bring some brief remarks.
Confirm that you can hear me.
Go right ahead, sir.
Yes, good morning. Can you confirm that you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
All right. Well, first of all, apologies for not being with you in person today in beautiful Grenada. Speaking from the UNICEF headquarters in Barbados, headquarters for the Eastern Caribbean. But very happy to be able to give a few remarks after Cicera Simon's beautiful words introducing the project. But let me start by first adopting the already established protocol and give a special thanks and welcome also to the ministers and the permanent secretaries in the room and those online. And of course, a special thanks to Joy for her beautiful invocation and for the children from Boca Secondary School for their entertainment. As UNICEF representative, very happy to be here. I'm overall, of course, very happy to be partnering with both the OECS, USAID, as well as the different OECS governments and ministries on this digital education capacity strengthening initiative, or everybody says beautifully, DESI. We're really proud and committed to this project. And of course, it comes in at a very opportune time in history. And I think the previous speaker already outlined very well what we have been all going through in the last few years. Of course, the COVID pandemic, made us all realize, how fragile some of our education systems are. Not just fragile because of COVID, in fact, challenges on the education system throughout the world were already there even before COVID. And COVID simply opened them up and aggravated them even more. And we know that in this region, in the Caribbean, the challenges to the education system come even from many different factors, such as being a global climate hotspot that poses an existential risk to countries in the OECS and to the education systems. All this constitutes to, I would say, a perfect storm if something like that exists. And I think globally, this was recognized by the UN Secretary General, who called last year the Transforming Education Summit in New York, where leaders across the world came together to discuss this global crisis in education. As I said, a crisis not formed by COVID or by natural disasters, but something that we already witnessed even before that. I was really happy to see how the governments of the OECS, including the OECS organization itself, embraced this opportunity of the Global Summit to work on setting out commitments for how to tackle this global education crisis, particularly in the OECS and the Caribbean region. And during the summit, a number of commitments were made, and I'd like to highlight a few of these commitments because I think they're very important, and I think they're very critical to start continuing to focus on going forward in terms of tackling this global crisis. First commitment was to prioritize foundational learning, especially through promoting early education systems or even early child development systems in the countries. And I know, having been to Grenada just a few weeks ago, how strong the early education features in the government's policy, starting from the 0 to 3, but continuing up to the age of 7. And I really congratulate specifically Grenada for the successes already achieved in this sector. But more needs to be done. More needs to be done in Grenada, more needs to be done across the OECS in early childhood education. A second commitment that was made by the OECS countries is strengthening the equity and inclusion of education to ensure that the most vulnerable children, including those of minority groups, including children with disabilities, are reached and have access to education that is suitable to their needs. Thirdly, we all recognize that, especially through COVID, the issue of mental health became a lot more prominent, and the education system can play a critical role when it comes particularly to mental health and well-being of children and their families. So this was identified as a third priority. Fourthly, and I think here it becomes very relevant also for the DESI project, the fourth commitment was to continue to integrate digital technologies in mainstream education, to be able to really build on global developments and global needs, both of societies as well as private sector and economies, for these kind of technologies to be included in education. And fifthly, to build more resilient education systems responding to the external threats that are there that I just highlighted. from storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, particularly in this region. And last but not least, to better use social protection system to ensure access of all to education systems. Now, the DESI project, as I say, directly speaks to many of these commitments, and particularly the fourth commitment on integration of digital technologies in education. And as UNICEF, we're very happy to see that in such a short time, I think the analogy was made to a mother giving birth, 9 months. In a short time, so many results were already achieved through this project. And of course, these results will continue to bear fruit and could continue to affect the lives of thousands of children across the region. Let me highlight a few of these results that the project already achieved, just to give you a few numbers. Through this project, more than 1,500 curriculum-aligned learning units were developed. And this created now the potential for really integrating online learning and digital technologies into the school. More than 600 educators received training to be able to use these learning materials in the schools. We also trained and developed learning materials for education on early education throughout secondary education across the Eastern Caribbean. And as such, more than 26,000 digital learning resources were developed. An incredible number of material that was developed to make digital learning more accessible for children across the OECS. And we expect that over 145,000 children and almost 12,000 teachers will continue to benefit from these resources, which will no doubt significantly contribute to learning outcomes across the region. As UNICEF, I can commit that to the OECS and to all the member states that we will continue to prioritize education in our work, and that we'll continue to collaborate with all of you to be able to continue the work started with this project and to help implement these commitments made at the Transforming Education Summit, and continue to partner with each and one of you to make this happen. Let me really thank again USAID for their generous support and partnership in this whole endeavor. And our partnership with USAID goes well beyond this DESI project. We're really proud and committed to continue this partnership and collaborate really with all of you to be able to really transform education in the OECS countries. Let me thank everybody here for their contributions, and I look forward to the rest of the morning session. And as I said, as UNICEF, me and my team we really look forward to collaborate and to continue to implement these commitments and to make sure that the results of DESI will be sustained going forward. So thank you again, and passing it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Bolt, for your very precise and very enlightening comments today, remarks today. Grenada is a very small place when compared to many of the islands and compared to the rest of the world. Sometimes we even recognize a little dot. Today we have a very small packaged gift of music. A very small one, but a very excellent gift today. We'd like to invite now Adriel Paul, a student of the St. Giles Anglican Primary School, to sing for us today.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day and every way. I'm gonna let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day and every way. I'm gonna let my little light shine. On a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, I'm gonna let my little light shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day, every day, every day and every way. I'm gonna let my little light shine. On a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Friday, on a Saturday, on a Sunday, I'm gonna let my little light shine.
Special things can come in small packages. So now we've gotten a little reason to smile. We get back into the adult business for a while. I would like to now invite Mr. Aurora Tirillion, Regional Representative of USAID, to please bring some remarks. Miss Aurora, sorry.
Good morning. That's a very difficult performance to follow. I'm Aurora Tirillion, the Deputy General Development Officer at USAID's Eastern and Southern Caribbean Mission. Please let me adopt the protocol already established. I am pleased to join you today to mark the successful completion of the Digital Education Strengthening Initiative, or DESI. USAID was honored to contribute more than 600,000 USD to this initiative to support specialists and teachers to develop more than 1,000 high-quality digital education learning materials. Sorry, I do have a loud voice right now. Might have to move back slightly. USAID is particularly pleased how a teacher-led approach was taken to develop these materials for use by teachers in the classroom. More than 400 principals and teachers benefited from training. This new knowledge will prepare teachers to pivot to online learning in the event of any future shocks to the education system. More than 5,000 students are expected to benefit from the results of DESI. We are also proud of the involvement of youth in the implementation of DESI. A youth-led organization is training teachers to develop content that is compatible with augmented reality or AR platforms. This approach to content development will ensure that teaching and learning materials are interactive, engaging, and most importantly, appeals to the interests of students. DESI also builds on USAID's former Early Learner Program, ELP, by strengthening the capacity of targeted countries to deliver high-quality digital instructional content. It also complements other USAID programs in the OECS, including USAID's St. Lucia Connect Ed program, which is focused on equipping youth with the foundational skills required by modern economies and a flexible workforce. Today's event allows all key stakeholders, all of us, the opportunity to celebrate the success of DESI and the impact it will have on the lives of children across the OECS. The resources developed, the networks formed, and the enhanced knowledge gained will support children as they continue to demonstrate progress towards the mastery of foundational skills. While today's ceremony marks the end of DESE, we hope that through initiatives like iLearn, St. Lucia Connect Ed, and Rice Caribbean, the OECS and Ministries of Education will continue strengthening education in the region. In closing, I want to extend a special thank you to the OECS Commission, the Ministries of Education, and educators for willingly participating in this initiative. USAID is grateful for this partnership, and we expect that it will have a lasting impact. This could not have happened without the collaboration and support, again, of the OECS, UNICEF, and most importantly, the students, teachers, and everyone in this room. Thank you for your leadership on this project and contributions. USAID looks forward to continuing this partnership and ensuring that every learner succeeds. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Mr. Rillian for her remarks. We thank, of course, that she represents USAID for the support that has been given. Just do me one little favor, please. You took my protocol list just for safety. Okay. All right. So, we had a little break when Adriel brought a wonderful gift for us in song. And today we are going to continue showcasing our culture by inviting now a folk group from this Montrose SDA Primary School to bring their cultural presentation today.
Dry weather, houseman, it know what 1 cent. I shouldn't have to pay so much for rent. Only one morning that landlord went to one of his tenants to collect some rent. The tenant said, "Master, me no fool, we no pay no rent for no swimming pool. Dry weather, house and no water cent. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Dry weather, house and no water cent. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Look on the room you rent me to live. The whole of the top is just like a sleep. When me go to bed, if it's sleeping sound, me swear to me king, me would have so drunk.
spam. When rain come out, the tennis ground. No matter you walk and walk we care.
Butter, butter, butter is all you hear. Dry with a husband, know what I said. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Dry with a husband, know what I said. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Some of the rooms that the landlord rent, they are just like a scrappy and tent. When you go to bed, if you don't take that oath, in the middle of the night, cockroach cut your throat. Try with a husband, know what I said. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Try with a husband, know what I said. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent.
We don't have no kitchen, we don't have no bath. And when you come play, really smack you flat. That's what them tell us, them bet you look at them, get your thoughts from me, no one.
Try with a husband, know what I said. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Try with a husband, know what I said. Man, I shouldn't pay so much for me rent. Some of the rooms, they be so small that you cannot turn in at them at all. If you want to turn, you got to go outside. Then turn your back and read what's inside. Try with a husband, it no much 1 cent. I shouldn't have to pay so much for rent. Try with a husband, it no what 1 cent. I shouldn't have to pay so much for rent. I shouldn't have to pay so much for rent. I shouldn't have to pay so much for rent.
So there are a lot of lessons that we just learned there. I was listening, this is a song I've heard so many times, but in the context of Desi, we had to make sure Desi ended up to drive at the house. We had to make sure that we don't pay rent for things that ain't worth anything. So we had to make sure we put some serious effort into Desi implementation and making sure it's done very well. We ain't want the children to tell us we making them pay a cost for something that ain't really worth much. That was really powerful. Thank you very much, Monk Bros SDA Primary School. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the point where we'd like to now invite our Minister, Honorable David Andrew, Minister for Education, Youth, Sport and Culture here in this country. He's a man who is well known throughout the OECS context because of his work with Child Friendly Initiative. But for us, he's our special son because he came from us. And so today we want to invite our minister to please bring some brief remarks. Minister Andrew.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stroud, Master of Ceremonies. Let me take this opportunity to say good morning and to welcome all of you to Grenada. At this time, I just want each of you to turn to the person next to you and say something warm. Say something warm that makes them smile. Something warm that makes them smile. So allow me to acknowledge the permanent secretaries of the Ministries of Education of the OECS member states, Mrs. Angela Findley, our Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sport and Culture here at home, Mrs. K. Martin Jack, Chief Education Officer on the Ministry of Education and the National Reconciliation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, other chief education officers, directors of education, heads of departments and officials of the ministries of education, Mr. Peter Bult, representative of UNICEF Office for the Eastern Caribbean area, Ms. Shirley Ann Harper, Early Childhood Development Specialist for UNICEF Office for the Eastern Caribbean area, and other UNICEF staff, regional and international development partners, Mrs. Cicera Simon, Acting Director, Human and Social Division, OECS Commission, staff of the OECS Commission, principals and teachers, students, other partners and invited guests, members of the media, online participants. Again, good morning. Let me join in truly welcoming you to Grenada, and for those of you who are visiting, if it's your first time, I trust you are going to find some time to enjoy, if it is but a little slice of this paradise that we call home. So do ensure you do that. But it was Andrew Keene who wrote that being human in a digital world is to build a digital world for humans. Digital education is a must. It's an imperative. In fact, even before COVID-19 taught us the rough lessons that it did within the last couple of years, forward thinking pointed us to the reality that we ought to have been very integrative in our approaches, that the technology was knocking on the doors, and that we needed to be a lot more integrative, including the technologies in our educational deliveries and strategies. I go on to say that not only is integration important, but digital education in the early grades is an imperative. You just put one of these devices in the hand of one of these little children, and they will decode it quickly for you. Even if you put locks and codes and barriers on it, they'll do what they have to do with it. Now, the reality is, children of this day and age, they are digital citizens. And in the same way as in our time, we have come to appreciate the luxuries, or probably I should say, the necessity of electricity, for the average child today, the digital space is but a necessity. And they're born there. And they have to function there. So when I see a project like the Digital Education Capacity Strengthening Initiative, I know we are heading in the right direction for early grades. Because we are talking and speaking and targeting citizens of that particular era. Now, we are immigrants, you know. We go and learn this and we learn that and we learn this and we learn this online, this and we take an online course to get up to speed. But these young ones that we are targeting in this program, they are citizens, natural citizens. We probably have to apply through some Microsoft course or something. And so it's imperative that we use this natural medium for our children to enhance the delivery of education. We need to teach them what they need to sift through and how they make the best of the digital space. And we have to guide them through that maze. In fact, I believe that a huge part of the answer to a lot of our reading, literacy, and numeracy challenges in the early grades, the answer lies in that medium, in the digital space. In fact, we've already challenged our early childhood department here at home to look into some of the best and most readily available softwares, if I should put it that way, that would allow for student-led reading and acquisition of all of the skills at that level. And they are actively engaging that. I want to take a moment to thank our international partners, so USAID, UNICEF, and the OECS Commission, who have always worked along with us to promote the development of education in the region. I want to single out the OECS Education Management Unit because over the years, we have benefited tremendously from the OECS's keen attention to the peculiarities of our region, the similarities, the shared challenges we have as an OECS nation group of states, and the interventions, whether it is in the harmonized curriculum, or whether it's in the standardized guidance policy, or whatever it was. But we recognize and appreciate today the leadership demonstrated by the OECS Commission in looking out for and preserving the needs of our island states in the education sector. Thank you very much, OECS and all our partners. I want to further commend the OECS because when you listen to, in many areas of education across our globe, you'd recognize that thankfully, through the work of organizations like the OECS and UNICEF in our region, you can celebrate sometimes when you listen to the status of education in other parts, in other areas across the globe. You can celebrate and say, well, we're ahead in this regard. We're already heading in that direction. And often, it has to do with initiatives that collectively, as an OECS region, we've embarked upon. Again, commendations to you. In our own capacity as a local ministry and as a government, we have a clear focus on skills and innovation that we believe is important to respond to the needs of our population. And so to this end, things like coding in schools, we've already introduced. It's being refined as we broaden. E-books, e-testing, we're looking to do more along with CXC in that regard. We have been discussing the improvement of our laboratories to increase and augment our ability to deliver innovation and innovative and creative skills in our schools. And we started discussing our own IT strategy, ICT strategy, and blueprint. And part of that will involve developing our own learning management system. So when I listened today about DESI, and I read the overview, I realized all of this falls snugly inside of this whole framework. And so that's why this whole DESI, the Digital Education Capacity Strengthening Initiative, falls at a very apt time for us in Grenada. Because you see, COVID catapulted us into a number of measures. But then we had to ask, did we have the requisite capacity? Did we have the strength within the system to be able to sustain and maintain and to probably lift off the way we ought to have? And maybe no. But then you can't possibly have blamed anybody for that because COVID, none of us anticipated it. But here we have, and the OECS has led the way in creating that platform where we can strengthen and build the capacity within our systems to be more integrative and to respond to the needs of our children, our students in this digital era and this digital age. So given our thrust, we believe that this DESI initiative is at a very, very good time. And so we give our full support to it and we look forward to receiving increase and multiplier effect benefit from the investments that you have made in this initiative. I thank you very much and do enjoy the rest of your day.
I'd like to thank Minister Andrew for gracing us with his presence today and for bringing brief remarks. We now invite the St. George's Methodist Primary School to do a choral piece for us. St. George's Methodist Primary School.
principals and teachers too. It will make learning fun from K to 3 and even you. Digital education training for all. We are using technology. If another time comes when we can't go to school, learning will continue with that digital pool. We are ready for them. Digital education capacity strengthening initiative. DESI, that's the way to go. DESI, 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 our digital hero.
Desi, our digital hero. Shit, I hope this was recorded. Oh yeah, it's being recorded, good. Yeah, so we know because we're in a digital space and digital rollout out there, we have to record. So we're good to go. So that was really good. Excellent, young people. Excellent, excellent. Let's put our hands together for them. That was really, really well done. And within the context of digital and why we are here today, we're now going to take a little time to look at a video presentation based on DESI.
The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Digital Education Capacity Strengthening Initiative, DESI, supported by UNICEF through USAID, was conceptualized as an initiative to improve the delivery of early grade education in the OECS. DESI set out to develop the capacity of teachers and school leaders to better leverage technology in education. These aims are consistent with the strategic priorities of the OECS: build resilience and advance equity.
The project aimed to achieve the following: delivery of 1,500 curriculum-aligned, high-quality digital resources in the core areas of English language, mathematics, social sciences, and natural sciences. 100 school leaders trained in the adoption of open educational resources and in digital leadership and change management. 500 teachers trained in the development of digital learning content, in the meaningful integration of technology, and incorporating augmented reality in instruction.
So be able to mix the virtual reality with the actual reality, I think that will get them interested, especially the boys. Something to keep them occupied and something to get them excited about learning.
The project aims to create content, culturally relevant content within the region so that teachers can benefit from those resources.
Since its launch in June 2022, the project has trained approximately 600 educators across Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
DESI is a strategic education response to COVID-19. The pandemic further exposed and exacerbated many of the already existing inadequacies of our education system. There are significant disparities among learners with respect to access to devices and to the internet. Many teachers and school leaders need support with effectively integrating technology in instruction. There is also a need for more curriculum-aligned digital content to support learning. Through the outputs of DESI, the education systems in the OECS were made more resilient to potential shocks and threats, such as natural disasters and medical emergencies, which can affect the continuity of learning.
There is a lot of potential just for engagement. There's a lot of potential for the use of audiovisual resources. There's a lot of potential for several groups of learners that historically haven't really been catered to in the chalk and talk method.
As we approach the end of this important initiative, we're proud to announce that a total of 600 educators have benefited from capacity development activities. Among these are the following: 250 educators trained in the creation of digital content and the use of open educational resources. 200 educators in meaningful integration and technology. 41 leaders in digital leadership and change management and certified by St. Francis Xavier University.
75 teachers trained in the use and development of augmented reality. 65 educators trained in H5P Lumi. Approximately 1,500 grades K-3 units in social studies, English, mathematics, and science aligned to the OECS Harmonized Primary Curriculum have been created. Digital content created through DESI will reside on the OECS Island platform as part of the OECS digital ecosystem, which features other digital learning resources such as those curated on Colibri and the Global Digital Library.
Open educational resources basically has to do with teachers being able to access content that is free. Although they are licensed, they are free and they can actually be able to remix content, they can redistribute, they can reuse as long as they would actually comply with the license.
And so I think this is the move for the future. Whether they are special needs students or normal students, it's the way to go.
The vision for the OECS digital learning ecosystem is a regionally owned and operated online resource that provides for lifelong learning needs of citizens. We recognize that the continuous upskilling of OECS nationals is pivotal to addressing a wide range of issues we face across multiple sectors, such as climate change, poverty, and limited access to quality education.
Part of this ambition is to make learning materials freely accessible to all learners and to provide affordable means for upskilling the workforce through offering a wide range of professional development courses.
DESI initiative could not have come at a better time. We really appreciate the difference that this initiative would make in the lives of our Grenadian students and teachers.
We believe that what we've started under DESI is just a starting point, and it is an area that the region will continue, together with member states, to develop content, not only at the primary school level for grades kindergarten to grade 3, but throughout the life cycle, the primary school life cycle, likewise the secondary level.
The OECS seeks to move beyond DESI by building on the gains from this initiative. We are committed to the continuous development of digital content and making high-quality learning resources accessible to all learners. We will continue to engage with member states to strengthen capacity at all levels of the education sector.
So that gives us something of a backdrop as to what DESI is and some of the context that would have taken place in terms of training and some of the persons who've actually have benefited from this. And so we're now going to invite Mr. Jermaine Anthony, technical specialist at EDMU and OECS Commission, to give us an understanding as to the learning ecosystem, I guess the interface and all of those things that will help us to understand how it's to be actually implemented. Mr. Anthony.
Good morning, and I would please like to adopt the protocol already established. My name is Jermaine Anthony. I'm a technical specialist at the OECS Commission. And what I'm here to feature for you is what we are calling the OECS digital learning ecosystem. So folks, the world is changing, and I think we can all agree we're on a bit of an odyssey. You're going to give me that now? Yes, and these days we're spelling odyssey, O-D-E-C-I. You get it? All right, so we're on odyssey, and I think the last 9 months, as Sisha would have told you, was a bit of a carriage. Not a miscarriage, but a full-term carriage. And so, just interesting, last night we were talking about using ChatGPT for how we can apply that in the work we're doing to become more efficient. And this morning already, I think she's a K grader or early grader, recited a prayer in which the word technology was mentioned at least twice. Makes you feel old, doesn't it? So the OECS digital learning ecosystem is really a response, an attempt at a comprehensive response for the need to build resilience in our education systems in the OECS. It's important for you to see it in that context. This very fuzzy diagram is supposed to represent the concept of the OECS digital learning ecosystem. And so it's supposed to cater to the work the Commission is doing, the continuing professional development of citizens in the OECS, including teachers. It's also supposed to meet the needs of, developing the quality of instruction and assessment in the OECS, and of course, meeting the needs of lifelong learning of our citizens. This came about, of course, as we were leading the path for this adoption of transitioning to a distributed learning system. This became very clear to everyone because, of course, of COVID-19. And it's not that we didn't hear the alarm bells before, but this time we realized, okay, we need to get moving on this. This is one of the resources you'll see featured through the OECS digital learning ecosystem. This is a 6,000 book repository for early grade readers. Amazing, huh? And it's actually put on there by an organization that is collecting books, reading books from all over different cultures. So that is inherent into our digital learning ecosystem. Another resource you'll see on there is, of course, something we curated just from 2 years ago, where we mapped the curriculum, the early grade, for both math but mainly literacy, and those are curated on a Colibri platform. You may not have yet heard about the Colibri platform, but it basically allows you to have that app on your device and have offline access to the resources. I'm sure you've heard of iLearn, and iLearn is itself a solution, and what that does, it's during DESI, it provided training for teachers in content development, but more long-term, what it will do is remain as a facility for teachers to be able to use authoring software to create content. It will remain as a repository of digital content. And one of the parts I like about it is that it allows you to take your lesson, which is in a Microsoft Word or PowerPoint format, as a teacher would already have, upload it, and in one click, convert that to an E format. I could speak a bit about the ICE framework, but I'm just to say to you that this is the bedrock, this is the foundation, the new foundation for the development of digital content in the OECS, okay? They only gave me 10 minutes, so I have to rush for this presentation. So there are other, features that will be there, or that are there, or part of the ecosystem. As the name suggests, it will be multifaceted and have different elements to it. Empower, those were a set of resources that were developed shortly after COVID in response to the pandemic. And even ESI News, I think some of you would be familiar with. The repository of those news features would be on there as well. So I think this last slide sort of captures the transition that we've been going through in the last 9 months. So a lot of those different platforms are all over the place, different URLs, different servers, different consultants even. And what we've done through this ecosystem is to bring everything home into one, one coherent space. Now, Kate asked me whether I remember how to use Windows. Let me see. Okay. Right, so I hope it's showing. Kate, I might need your help, huh? Because all I did was switch tabs. Okay. Yeah, I'll step back. All right. Yes. We good? All right, so this is, call it the storefront or the show window for the digital learning ecosystem. It's, for now, it's it's the landing site. And what it is, of course, is that place you go to. Very simple URL. Okay, it's just edu.oecs.org. And very simply, I hope the resolution is small enough, you would see each element there represents a segment of what the ecosystem is made up of. But I think the one that is of most interest to you would probably be K-12 learning resources. So under teacher development, you would have our Moodle platform where we would host our teacher professional development whether the training course might be. A lot of them would be self-paced, for example. We have the digital curriculum. I can probably just show you that very quickly. Again, we're trying to stick with the clock. And the idea for the digital curriculum is really to make the curriculum itself more accessible to teachers, to parents. And so pretty soon, you will be able to browse by grade level, by subject, even by topic, right down to the learning standard, so that when you're looking for the curriculum itself, the text, and you're looking for resources, and you're looking for teaching methodology, you would be able to find this through this digital learning ecosystem. So as of now, it is of course not yet fully populated. This is a child of the Pearl program, and so this is being developed in conjunction with the curriculum writing process. And so this element, this facet of the ecosystem will continue to grow throughout the lifetime of the Pearl. Unfortunately, you will see a couple errors because there's some things happening in the background as we speak. But not to worry, we didn't come here to speak about the digital primary curriculum per se. We were talking about the ecosystem. And so in terms of your K-12 resources, I hope the link will work fast enough. So I may be limited by how much I can show. Yeah. So you would find on here the same two elements I spoke about, which include the iLearn platform itself. iLearn itself is split into two parts. There's the developer part where teachers go on and select topics based on their preference or need, what they want to produce, what they're looking to contribute to the ecosystem. So a teacher may, for example, decide, I have a lesson or a set of lessons in early grade mathematics. I want to contribute them. They're on a Microsoft Word document. I want to share them. So you could go to iLearn Developer and register that. If you want to create a specific lesson, you want the tools to do so using interactivity, using your various tools, you would go on. Unfortunately, my login credentials would not be on Master Cade's computer, so I cannot log into that. But folks, this is the basic overview of what the digital learning ecosystem is, and I chose to focus this morning just on what it is supposed to deliver for K-12. There's a lot more to it, and we will be keeping you informed as more progress is made on it. So the final thing I want to say on that is, of course, having a website and having content is one thing, but having the hosting facility to keep it up and running is another. And so one of the big achievements under DESI is that we were able to secure a number of, I think at least 3 years of heavily discounted cloud services to host and to maintain this platform. So you don't have to worry about the site going down after 2 months, like some other services. You don't have to worry about having to pay for it. And even then, what we know to be the actual cost, we believe is more than worth the value we're getting for it. Because, of course, we must be in the digital space, and the cloud, of course, is the safest way for making sure those valuable resources that teachers are creating remain accessible to learners all over. So we're doing the bit to make sure that resilience is built into the education system. This ecosystem is just one of those tools. Thank you very much for your patience.
So as I was listening to Mr. Anthony, the thought came to mind, we're moving, and I said, no, I can't say forward with that. But anyway, so we're moving forward, I say it that way. And that means that we are getting to a place where, even though we're not quite there yet, we are desired to be. And of course, as we move forward, in that context, we hope to get to that height of being able to use the interface, teachers putting in their lessons and making sure that others can benefit from some of the best practices. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come down to the end. Now, we do have a few announcements I want to give after this particular item. So we would now invite Ms. Lisa Sajusi, Terrence, Senior Technical Specialist of EDMU and OECS Commission, to bring the closing remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Your permission, please, to adopt the protocol already established. Honorable Minister, thank you. My fellow colleagues in education, students, thank you for joining us today in person and virtually, and for being part of this closeout event of the Digital Education Capacity Strengthening Initiative, DESI. We hope that you leave this ceremony feeling inspired and motivated, knowing that you have contributed in some way to transforming our education landscape through DESI, a project which has impacted over 50,000 early grade students in the OECS. Let us take a moment to appreciate the hard work of the planning committee from the Ministry of Education here in Grenada that joined the EDMU in making this ceremony possible. Thank you, Ms. Angela Finlay and your team for helping us coordinate this lovely closeout event today. Thank you so much, Ms. Finlay. It was a pleasure working with you. I wish to recognize the excellent contributions and renditions of our students. The Boca Secondary School principal also, our little ones, Joy from Castle Bruce, Adriel from the St. Giles Anglican Primary, the St. Montrose, I believe, SDA, for your folk rendition, and the St. George's Methodist School that did that lovely PR piece for us that we will be playing very often. Students, you are so creative. You are so talented, and you have made this ceremony very special with your performances. Let's give them a round of applause, please. our esteemed presenters from the OECS Commission, from USAID, from UNICEF, our Honorable Minister. We appreciate your time and your remarks. I would like to put the spotlight on the national focal points of DESI, the content developers, the quality assurance team. We were able to meet and exceed most of our targets due to your commitment, your drive, and your understanding of the value of digital content creation in education today. Thank you for all the workshops and trainings that you coordinated and facilitated, and for the content that you contributed to the iLearn platform. We express gratitude to our development partners who support us in implementing our regional education strategy. And we recognize in particular USAID and UNICEF for their generous funding of the DESI. Mr. Stroud, thank you too for very masterfully guiding our ceremony today. As we bring it to a close, I want to challenge all of us in our varying roles to, one, commit to providing our students in the region with opportunities to learn in ways that are engaging and personalized. Think of Adriel when he said to us, what he said? Let it shine? Let's continue to let his light shine and that of all our students in the region. Let us commit to making education more inclusive and empowering by providing content that is interactive and, more importantly, accessible to all our learners in the OECS. Thank you very much, everyone, and do enjoy the rest of the proceedings.
Okay, thank you very much for saying thanks. So we have a few announcements. Let me start with the first one. I'll take my time with this one, with these, because I don't want any misinterpretations. So don't be too upset with me if I'm taking my time. Okay, so first of all, for our overseas guests, we do have some bags and some gifts, I should say. Let me not say bags. We have some gifts for you. So those are the ones in the brown ones. All right? You will, Ms. Bradford, raise your hands. So you're going to this lady in the back here who's waving at you. All right? So that table is for you alone. Right? Good. The second set of gifts we have is from DESI, and that's for everybody who's here. Yeah, everybody? Yeah, everybody. Right? Good. I say, I'll be careful. Yes. So that's for all guests, everybody who's here participating. You go, and that's Mr. Hippolyte. Mr. Hippolyte, wave around like that table there. That's Mr. Hippolyte. So them pink and blue and pretty bags. And the world is inclusive now, so guys, don't be afraid to take pink. It's all right. And then we have over on the right-hand side there, we have some laptops. Now, Mr. Decoto has informed me that they're already, based on what Mr. Anthony was talking about, the interface and ecosystem, these things have already been put on, the website is already on, so you are free. Everybody who is here, if you want to go into the website, check it out, see what it looks like, because, you're able to see here, but you want to see it up close and personal, you can do that. And lastly, you are invited to have some refreshments, and you are also encouraged to mix and mingle, whatever that means. But please make sure that you participate in sharing of the refreshments, and also make sure you stay to mix and mingle. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. Have a good rest of the day, and may Godspeed be with you. Take care.